Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is FIKRI, and together with my friend SAAD, Abdullah, Azzam and MOHD HAKIMI, in this video, we will discuss about one of the elements of the halal ecosystem, which is halal supply chain. So, when we talk about halal industry, we can see that nowadays, there is an increased demand of halal products. With the trade of halal food and product is estimated to be worth more than 2.1 trillion US dollar. This is because various countries across the world are beginning to realize the potential of the halal industry as the source of income to the nation. This attention given to the halal industry has led to the emergence of the halal supply chain management. But what is the difference between halal supply chain and supply chain? The only difference between halal supply chain and supply chain is that halal supply chain has been added with the element of Sharia law, as providing the Islamic law is the guideline for the proper halal process. For the explanation on this topic, first of all, we need to understand what is the basic concept in conventional supply chain. A basic concept of supply chain consists of all parties involved in fulfilling a customer request. Supply chain management is the integration of suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and customers, in which raw materials sourced from suppliers to manufacturers who then produce them into finished products and coordinate delivery to the customers. So basically, there are three phases of conventional supply chain, which include inbound phases, production phases, and outbound phases. During an inbound phase, organization deal with material procurement and management. It involves activities of transportation, storage, and delivery of the supplies coming into the plants or businesses. Meanwhile, the opposite is true of outbound logistics, which is related to similar items going out from the plant or businesses, which include all activities of warehousing, logistics, marketing, and sales to the end customer. Typically, the movement includes the raw materials, any work in process, and finished good, from upstream to downstream customers or end users. To conclude, we can say that halal production has seen a significant increase in Malaysia. Thus, the demand for halal material from the point of origin up until the downstream customer have become increasingly crucial to ensure the integrity of the halal product. It not only covers the halalness of the material, but includes all machines, tools, and as well as the logistic management. Ensuring halal operations throughout the supply chain is fundamental for the sustainability of halal product. Thank you.
Okay guys, we already know that we have conventional supply chain management system. But what do halal supply chain management system differ from the conventional one? Actually, halal supply chain management system uses the same principle with the conventional supply chain management system. But it is also comprised with several attention and endorsement about the products and the services halalness. And this halal supply chain can be achieved by implementing halal business policies and actions that will generate profit from a halal supply chain management system. Okay, and the objective of halal supply chain management system is to ensure the integrity and the quality of halal products throughout the supply chain. And in order to achieve 100% halal supply chain management system integrity, adherence to halal standards and other Islamic legal texts such as fatwa has to be fulfilled first before going to 100% halal supply chain management system that are Sharia compliant.
So I will first talk about halal procurement and halal manufacturing, and later my friend will continue with the other parts in halal supply chain. So in halal supply chain, we will have a few steps, okay, and guidelines in ensuring that the product produced are following the halal principles. So first of all, in halal supply chain, we have the halal procurement. So what is halal procurement? Halal procurement is the process where the company will need to gather and collect their sources for their products. So this is where the company will buy or purchase their raw materials, their ingredients or their packaging materials, additives, enhancers, and also things related to transportation, storage, and warehousing. So these are meant by halal procurement, where all companies we need to have this procedure. Okay, and in halal procurement, definitely we will have halal purchase. To have these ingredients, to have these raw materials, the company will need to purchase the materials. So in halal purchasing, there are a few commodities that are being stated by halal researchers. Okay, they are considered as critical commodities that each company need to take extra precautions and extra ruling, okay, on these commodities. Okay, among these commodities are food ingredients, equipment and tools used in factories, sanitary purpose materials, laboratory supplies, okay, and water filters and logistic part. So in order for the company to make sure that these halal procurement comply with the halal principles and Islamic guidelines, they will need to ensure that the products purchased are having the halal certified, is having the halal certification from JAKIM or any authorized bodies. And if the sources are from animal, they need to make sure that the animals are properly sorted according to Islamic principles, and whether the animals are being stunted or not upon slaughtering. Other than that, it goes the same for the company to take precaution, okay, for plant sources, synthetic origins, and any other sources they need to produce their product. So this is all about halal procurement, where the company will need to have a halal policy, okay, so that they can have a better understanding on what they should do to purchase, okay, their product, their sources of products. Okay, next, after they have completed the procurement process, the purchasing process, they will start to produce. So this is where halal manufacturing is important. In halal manufacturing, the company need to set up a rule and guidelines that need to be followed by all the companies' workers, staffs. Okay, and these guidelines include to prepare a halal internal committee, to appoint halal executive, to set up guidelines, okay, for the workers. Okay, for example, uniforms, sanitary practices, okay, cleanliness of the factory, and many other things that have been stated in the halal standards and regulations. So I think this is all about halal procurement and halal manufacturing. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.
Alright, halal distributions consists of halal packaging and halal containers. Packaging characteristics such as materials have an impact on the halalness of the product. In order for a ready product to be fully Sharia compliant, its packaging must be compliant as well. This is important because if the packaging contains unclean or haram materials, they can be easily passed onto the product during transportation and storage. In this case, the product will no longer be halal when it is offered to the final consumer. For this reason, entrepreneurs have to ensure that they use halal packaging. Just like all the processes in the halal supply chain, it is subject to strict standards set by the authority responsible for standardization. So, packaging, labeling, and containers of halal food in Malaysia must follow certain requirements as stated in Malaysian standard. Alright. For example, in packaging materials, the first one is packaging materials are not made from najis by Sharia law. And the second one is not prepared, manufactured, or processed using equipment that contaminated with najis. And the third one is must be separated from other food that does not meet the Sharia requirement. And the lastly is packaging materials does not contain any raw materials that considered hazardous to human. And there are also requirements for the container. Each container shall be marked legibly, and a label shall be attached to the container with name of the product, net content expressed in metric system, name and address of manufacturer, importer, distributor, and trademark, list of ingredients, code number identifying date or batch number of manufacture and expiry date, and then country of origin. So, the basic function of packaging on container is to contain and protect the goods during delivery and distribution. In the context of halal, they will protect goods from any cross-contamination between halal and non-halal substances. Alright, next we move to the halal logistics. Logistics is part of supply chain which involves many business entities such as suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. All these entities will work together to acquire raw materials and transform them into final products. Logistics include organizing, protecting, and identifying products and materials before they reach the customer. Meanwhile, halal logistics is defined as the process of managing the procurement, the movement, the storage, and handling of material parts, livestock, semi-finished or finished, both food and non-food and related information, and the documentation of flows through the organization and the supply chain in compliance with the general principles of Sharia. Hence, halal logistics is an approach to avoid product misinformation and to ensure that Muslim consumers will receive and consume only the halal and tayyiban products. So, throughout the food supply chain, the logistics service provider plays a crucial role in ensuring that the raw materials, the ingredients, the packaging materials, the storage and transportation of halal products are done so that they do not become contaminated with haram products. In Malaysia, there are some halal logistics service providers, or we call it as LSPs, that are certified by JAKIM and had also applied for a halal logistics standards as stated in Malaysian Standard for Halal Logistics that cover transportation, warehouse, and retailing. So it can be said that the key element of halal logistics is the segregation process between halal and non-halal food products and ensuring that the halal integrity from farm to fork.
Okay guys, Alhamdulillah, we have gone through the explanation about the crucial phases along the supply chain. And for Malaysia, for now, Malaysia are putting their utmost attention in developing halal standards and policies on the manufacturing level, if we say in the context of halal supply chain. I hope that in the next phase, Malaysia also can focus on other phases of halal supply chain and making that all of the phases along the supply chain will be fully Sharia compliant and can serve as guidance to other countries that are striving to make the halal industry even bigger. And we see that the technology are getting more developed, and we see as the technology are getting more developed, there are new approaches that are coming to us, which before we didn't see it because the technology wasn't developed then. So among the technologies that can be used in making a halal supply chain more trustable and gaining more integrity in halal supply chain is, one of it is blockchain technology. There are no intermediaries during the transaction and during the negotiation, because before, if we want to do a transaction, we usually have intermediaries. For example, banks. Banks will be intermediaries to validate the data and etc. But with blockchain technology, there are no need for any intermediaries, and the data can be validated by the system itself. Aside from the blockchain technology, there are many other new technology that are being developed, which is it can be implemented and used in halal supply chain in order to gain more integrity and more trust from the consumers, and to portray that halal supply chain offers a better improvement and a better choice than the conventional one, where they can gain the market not from the non-Muslim only, but for the Muslim. All of this the outcome of the research made by a technology expert, Lucas Mostazo, in 2018, where he says that blockchain technology offers a better choice in making the data more trustable and gaining more integrity about the trustfulness of the data itself. And to conclude this video, Muslim population that are continuously growing will create a great supply of demand in the halal market. Having halal integrity is very important in order to tackle this supply of demands from Muslim and the non-Muslim consumers. And we hope that by achieving 100% of halal integrity for halal supply chain management system, it will become a gateway in making the halal industry strive more than the conventional and making it the #1 industry in the world. And with that, I end with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for watching and listening. Bye bye.